Child's right to safer schools. Local to regional disaster risk reduction. The figures presenting the loss of children's lives illustrate our schools' vulnerabilities. While natural and man-made disasters have inflicted tremendous damage and suffering in schools and communities, small incidents in and around schools in daily life leave a greater psychological impact on children about school safety.
Unsafe schools are a reality. At repeated great cost, this has been seen many times in the last decade. Despite the opportunity of using schools as safe facilities for public shelter following a disaster, school buildings are an additional liability, unsafe for our children.
Better known as AIDMI, is a community-based action research and action planning organization. It works towards bridging the gaps between policy, practice and research in disaster mitigation from the community to the international level.
All India Disaster Mitigation Institute began working informally on school safety issues at its inception in 1989 and later consolidated this work into the Child's Right to Safer Schools campaign in response to the 2001 Gujarat earthquake. With the necessary tools, school children and teachers can become the engines to reduce the impact of hazards and to foster a culture of disaster prevention and management in schools. They can work together to generate disaster awareness in schools and communities, develop school-specific disaster preparedness plans, improve structural and non-structural safety measures, and obtain accident insurance so they are covered in the event of a disaster. At present, activities are underway in disaster-prone areas in 7 states: Assam, Bihar, Gujarat, Jammu and Kashmir, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. Trainings are conducted and materials are disseminated in 5 languages: English, Hindi, Gujarati, Urdu and Tamil.
Right to education is one of the constitutional right. AIDMI see All India Disaster Mitigation see it more important if it is with better atmosphere, safe structures and safer learning environment. Child's Right to Safer School campaign has been improved, experienced and spread gradually while working experience in disasters.
We have also done orientation of chosen key and active school staff members and children and given them orientation on disaster risk reduction subject.
Teachers, staff and children are engaging in disaster preparedness and school safety trainings. Staff and other educators participate in trainings of trainers, in which they learn about building school capacities for disaster risk reduction, scientific understanding of disasters, appropriate preparedness and response procedures, needs and roles of stakeholders, and psychological issues around disaster. Children and teachers learn emergency response procedures from doctors, such as CPR, how to assist people who are unconscious, and how to evacuate people to safety. Schools can become effective independent disaster managers. The formation of a disaster management committee allows each school to integrate lessons from training to design its own preparedness plans and evacuation maps according to its perception of disaster threats at its school. Children and teachers acquire basic training on safety procedures to follow in the event of any disaster. Children are seen here taking cover under their desk and evacuating in an organized manner, while protecting their heads from loose objects. Children learn to remain calm and follow procedure to avoid unnecessary injuries and deaths caused by panic and chaos. The installation of fire extinguishers and firefighting demonstrations are a simple intervention that can save many lives. In the event of a fire, schools will know how to respond without being dependent on outside assistance. First aid kits are provided and disaster professionals demonstrate to teachers and students how to use the first aid materials. A kit of educational and informative materials in local languages helps generate awareness and preparedness among school administrators, teachers, students and parents. It contains disaster education supplies for teachers, displays targeted to students, and other informative resources such as newsletters, pocketbooks, and brochures. School children, teachers, and administrative staff of supported schools are insured against accidents of any kind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at a cost of rupees 15 to 17 per person per year. The insurance claim provides financial assistance to families in the case of serious injury or death. Based on damage assessment and surveys with disaster-affected schools, campaign Support to Needy Schools has been provided with respect for needs. Examples of requested support include safe drinking water facilities, repair of electrical work for safety, construction work for kitchens and toilets, and monsoon preparedness. Disaster professionals, doctors, government officials, academicians, and local community members share their insights in a public forum on school safety and disaster risk reduction, where knowledge and ideas are freely exchanged. Other topics like girls' vulnerability, HIV/AIDS awareness, and climate change adaptation may be included depending on the location.
As a part of its ongoing campaign, AIDMI organizes public lectures related to school safety and risk reduction.
Part of this campaign, we started meetings through with the government education department and community science centers. It also helped for identify needy and vulnerable schools, and for better planning and sustainable joint work. Schools were identified from the poor localities where children comes from the highly vulnerable area, and we also found that their disaster response capacity are very limited.
The program evaluation has consistently reflected positive developments in teachers and children, as comments and findings demonstrate a better understanding of hazards and a higher capacity for schools to manage their own disaster risk.
આફત શું હોય તો અમે લોકો આફત આવી જાય ખબર હતી, પણ એને માટે પ્રિપેર કેવી રીતે થવાનું એ કે અમને જાણકારી નહીં હતી. અમને આ લોકોએ ટ્રેનિંગ આપી અને અમે એના વિશે અવેરનેસ આવી. અમે શાળાઓએ ડિઝાસ્ટર મેનેજમેન્ટના પ્લાન પણ તૈયાર કરે છે, અને એની અંદર અમે લોકો બધી એની કિટ્સ રાખી છે. પછી કેવી રીતે શું કરવું એની એક ટુકડી બનાવી છે, જે સાયન્સ ક્લબ હોય ને એવી રીતે ડિઝાસ્ટર મેનેજમેન્ટની ટુકડીઓ બનાવી છે.
It is a wonder that there is growing national demand for clean air and safe water, but not for safer schools. A recent school safety audit conducted by the All India Disaster Mitigation Institute team in 54 schools in 6 hazard-prone states of India revealed that school safety is not a high priority for either public or for corporate officials. The audit method was developed by the AIDMI team with school teachers, school administrators, parents and children in coordination with the respective local governments, authorities, and uses a range of quantitative and qualitative methods to gather evidence on school resilience. The influence of non-school actors, government, NGOs and corporate on school safety was also reviewed. Although the comprehensive analysis of findings is pending, the following 5 points are clearly emerging. First, processes and methods that reduce disaster risk, such as design of seismically safe buildings, are not considered even after the area served by the school has faced a major disaster. School buildings are often structurally unsafe. Second, the focus of reconstruction after any disaster has been on new and big buildings and not on safer school buildings. Size matters, safety doesn't. Third, the schools that are safer have not shared their experiences with schools that need to rebuild after a disaster. Schools are our temples of learning, but school-to-school learning on safety is not occurring as much as it should. Fourth, the teachers in the surveyed schools have high levels of interest in making schools safe. They want to make schools safe. They do not know where to access basic, useful information. Current constraints in time and resources inhibit teachers' access to safety knowledge. Fifth and last, where school safety activities are promoted by non-governmental organizations, the government authorities or the corporate sector, follow-up is often lacking. This almost guarantees that the high cost initially effort will have diminishing returns.
The National School Safety Audit has provided valuable insights for next steps to improve school safety activities. By emphasizing participatory and community-based learning and evaluation methods, schools and communities will continue to lead the way in promoting school safety awareness and disaster risk reduction. The school safety efforts are of urgent importance because children are extremely vulnerable to hazards. It is our duty to ensure their safety in one of the most important places of their early development, their schools.